and super excited to be here. And I know it's a little different doing this virtual thing, but it is good to kind of see some friendly faces and get out of the house and be in the office for a second and talk to you guys. This is my fourth year at Proctor. I'm also the girls lacrosse coach and strength and conditioning coach, and just excited to kind of reconnect with these alumni. And I will be your moderator tonight. So when you guys have questions, we'll kind of bounce them out to our alums. And I'm also working with Alicia.
Quote unquote met some of you guys last night at our last virtual panel. As Kayla said, I'm Alicia. I work here in admissions as well, and I am also an alumni of Proctor, class of 2015, so this isn't my panel tonight, but I was in these kids' shoes at one point in their lives as well, so I'll be helping Kayla moderate some of these questions that you guys have this evening.
Awesome. So this is kind of a unique opportunity for Revisit Day. We usually don't have alumni on campus, even though we're not on campus tonight. We usually don't get the chance to connect with them in this capacity with our new families as well. So we're excited. We've got 5 of you guys here, and I will let you guys take it away and do some intros.
I'm Sam. I'm from Brewster, Massachusetts, and I go to Denison University now. At Proctor, I was big into theater, drama, mountain biking. Like it says, I went on Mountain Classroom. I went on Proctor and Segovia, which is the Spain abroad program. I lived in a few different dorms. I came in as a junior. I lived in Eco Dorm with Kayla. Kayla was my dorm parent, which was a lot of fun. Um, and and I'm excited to be here.
I'm currently going to Colorado College online school, and I live now in Vail, Colorado. Before I came into Proctor as a repeat junior, and I came from Green Mountain Valley School, which is a ski academy in Vermont. And so I came to Proctor for like a mix of skiing, but also like academics and like having an actual school. I also played soccer and tennis, and I also did a show. I did In the Heights with Sam, and I did and I did Ocean Classroom, and yes, and I lived in Mass and then Vermont, and now I live in Colorado.
I'm Lulu. I'm from Dover, Massachusetts. I came to Proctor Academy as a freshman after the Carroll School, and now I go to Trinity College, where I play field hockey and lacrosse. At Proctor, I played field hockey and lacrosse. I was leader of the Big Sisters program. I was part of the student government for a year or two there, and then I also was a dorm leader and a new student orientation leader. And I went on Ocean Classroom and Mountain Classroom.
I'm from Jackson, Wyoming. And when I came to Proctor, I was a repeat junior, and I immediately jumped right into crew, Nordic skiing, which I was really into, being from Wyoming. I ended up on the cycling team, and I went on Ocean Classroom as it says, but I also went on the summer China Abroad program, and you can find me as a freshman at Colby College.
Guys, I'm Haley McKechnie. I'm originally from Needham, Mass, but my family actually moved to Andover. So I guess I'm the 4th repeat junior in this group speaking tonight. I currently attend Bentley University, but I'm in the process of transferring. So college counseling department is still very prevalent in my life. At Proctor, I was captain of the soccer team. I Nordic skied for a year after never skiing, so it was quite an adventure. I played lacrosse for Kayla, sang in the jazz rock ensemble, and I was business club president. And last winter, I had the time of my life in Spain on the Proctor and Segovia program.
Awesome. And then I know on the slide that you guys can all see right now, we're going to have Ezra Jennifer from your class join in, but he is on the football team at his school, and so he actually had a football meeting that he had to run to. So unfortunately, he won't be joining us, but he's still here in spirit. So the next thing that I just want to say quickly for everybody who's watching, we are kind of done with the slides. So the best way to view this whole panel right now, if you go up into the upper right-hand corner of your screen, you will see 4 boxes in a little white circle. Click that. That will give you the grid view. We've been calling it the Brady Bunch view. So that might be the easiest thing for you to kind of see everyone as we talk. In this panel, I know a lot of you have been watching sort of as the week has progressed and seen a bunch of different panels from us. This one will be a little different, a little less structured, just because our presentation was just about what you saw there, with just introductions. And we are really looking to you guys to ask questions for our alum, and kind of just pick their brain a little bit and see what their experience has been like, what their journey from Proctor into their first year of college looks like, and kind of how they're adapting. And but yeah, so we'll be looking. There's a question and answer, a Q&A box off to the right of your screen, and you guys can feel free to post questions, and we will try our best to get all of them answered. But I think our first questions are coming in, and I think probably a good one to start with. Did you feel that the academics at Proctor prepared you well enough for your college experience? Go ahead, Sam.
I definitely think it prepared me well. I also should say I go to a college that's very similar to Proctor. I think I got to Proctor and I found what I liked, and then I found it in college too. And so I think the classes were rigorous enough, but also were helped me like develop my own independence well enough that now when I get to classes, and some of the classes I have in college are smaller, some are bigger, like all classes would be. And the bigger ones where there's not as much of a focus on me, I feel like Proctor gave me the tools I need to be independent with my learning. And also, I think I had enough relationships with my teachers that I can have in college now, like good conversations, know how to ask like beneficial questions within my classes, which is really, really nice.
Awesome. Well, somebody else haven't? I know a bunch of you raised your hand. One more? Haley, go ahead.
I think the overall lifestyle that Proctor has to offer is what prepared me the most for college. It's not just are the academics rigorous, but the lifestyle is incredibly rigorous. I mean, you're with people all day, which is exactly what college is like. You're with your friends all day, classmates all day, and really just generating kind of a schedule for your life that you don't realize until later is pretty much ingrained in you, where you go to class and you eat dinner and you do homework, and learn to get exercising in there, and you learn how essential that is to get your work done, and you learn how to deal with social life, because you can have it whenever you want at Proctor. So you learn you really have to balance it. And I think that's what really prepares you for college.
That's an awesome answer. And I think it actually ties in really well with our next question, which was, looking back, what about your experience at Proctor did you feel was different than some of your peers coming into college? So some of your peers that didn't go to Proctor that you're now in classes with, what are some of those experiences that you feel maybe differed in your high school careers to prepare you? Which I think, Haley, you started that question off, but does anybody else want to tee in there of some of the ways that Proctor might have prepared you differently than some of your college peers that didn't attend Lulu?
So first, I would say that I am able to advocate for myself and really get to know each one of my professors. And that's something that Proctor taught me, is to build a relationship with those people in your life. So a lot of my friends aren't used to going to professor office hours when really at Proctor you go to extra helps all the time. Honestly, sometimes I go for fun because the teachers are so awesome, but I guess that's something that I just got used to and planning my day around those important times. Along with that, I also feel that at Proctor, you learn how to deal with the stressful academics, and you learn how to go around the athletics in all your games and all the people in your dorm, and it teaches you to build those 2 hours of study hall into your time. So at Trinity now, I build 2 hours every single night. Obviously, I work more than that, but I always have those hours after dinner that Proctor taught me because I feel that those hours are super crucial, especially in the library.
Awesome. So we have quite a few questions coming in. One is for those of you who came in as juniors when you didn't start as a freshman. How was your transition while also going through the college process? Like you just had to jump right into that. How was it? Kat, you want to start us off?
Yeah, so I was a repeat junior, so I guess for me it was just like an extra year of time. But I guess I feel like a lot of people start the college process really early now, and I feel like it's not like super necessary until like mid end junior year, I guess. That's how I was kind of looking at it, especially because like the further I got, the more I was like, oh wait, all of my ideas are changing. Like I thought I wanted this, and now I actually wanted this. So I actually didn't think it was really an issue for me at all. It actually just like coming to Proctor my junior year, all of a sudden like opened my eyes to a lot more, and I was like, oh whoa, I really need to rethink my college choices. And so it was more of like eye-opening and less of stressfulness, I guess.
Good. Alex, I saw you raised your hand earlier. You want to jump in?
Sure. I think that at least my transition was very strange at first, just because the school that I went to before was just incredibly unique in the way it teached. So we use like an IB program or curriculum, and Proctor uses AP, and they're very different. And so when I got to Proctor, it was such a shock in the way that I studied and the way that I kind of paid attention in classes. And so I think the way that the teachers really reach out to you at first and really help support you is super, super helpful. And it really made my transition a lot easier.
Go ahead, Sam.
I'm nervous because I just saw my dad walk in. I was just going to talk about when I came in as a junior, I was randomly paired with Alex as a roommate, which was a lot of fun. And I think coming in as a junior and being with someone else who's new definitely helps with your transition. Because I saw that question and I was like, how did the transition affect my college process? Because I'm not sure it changed the timeline at all. And I came in as a junior, and I would say it took that first trimester to adjust, and then I went off campus for the second trimester. Um, and I came back after not having had any communication with anyone for 3 months. And college counseling like scooped me up and helped me out with everything I needed. And I got into my top choice school. I love it there, and I've been having a great time ever since.
Go Hornets!
Thanks, Dad.
Awesome. Well, that's a really good transition, kind of right into how did the off-campus programs help you prepare yourself for college? Anybody? Haley?
I was a day student, so I didn't have the experience of living with different people other than my family so much as the boarders do. So I did Proctor and Segovia, where you live with a host family, and so that was a really good experience for me to learn to live with other people. And the 9 other students on that program, it's kind of like living in a dorm. I think you don't live in the same house, but you spend all day together. So I think that was a really good experience for me. of learning to work with people better, because I think that's something boarders get a lot at Proctor, but it's something that I was able to get from that experience.
Awesome. Lulu.
So for me, I went on ocean classroom and mountain classroom, and they taught me how to work hard and push my boundaries. When on ocean classroom, it's 2 a.m. and you call like muster aboard, and like it's time to like deal with the sails, and you're physically tired and mentally tired, and you only have like 2 hours of sleep on you, and it's wet and it's salty and it's dark out. I mean, those are the moments that you really have to push through, and the moments that you have to forget about the essay you have due the next day about like whatever marine science you're learning about. And so those are the skills that you learn on those programs fully carry through with you, whether it's um, advocating for yourself when you're tired, and when like you need help, or when you push through being like tired and you stay up and you're able to get that done. And they're the experiences that really help you grow, not just as a learner, but as a person. And that fully carries through with you into college, and the professors see who you are as a person, which is super important.
Those are all really good answers, and we have a lot of really good questions coming in. So this next one it's a learning skills question. So how did learning skills translate into college, and what skills did you take from your learning skills program?
So I was in learning skills since I was a freshman, or was, and going into Trinity. It's definitely a rigorous school that's a bit more traditional. And so I had to work with an accommodation center to put in place everything I needed. And they are fantastic because all colleges deal with students of all different academic backgrounds. And so for me, I got that extra time. I was able to get that private room that I had at Proctor when I needed to test. And so um, also it's like the little things that really help. So my learning skills teacher was Jen Fletcher, who's the head of the program. And um, she just helped me grow overall as a learner. I mean, I wouldn't have even been able to take any AP classes at Proctor if it wasn't for her to help me the first few years. So it's just like the smaller skill sets of learning how to take efficient notes, how to write an essay by yourself, which I could not do the first 2 or 3 years of Proctor. And now obviously I go to fantastic school where I have to write an essay probably every other day. So um, it's the little skills that help and carry over.
Great. Thanks, Lou. And so I guess we're getting a lot of questions just about how your college counselors have helped you and sort of what that process looked like. So I'd love to hear from a few different folks here, and just what did your process look like, and kind of how often were you meeting with your counselor and all that sort of stuff. Haley, you want to go ahead?
So my mom is a college counselor, so this is kind of still a part of my life, and like I said, I'm transferring. So the process starts, I think as early as sophomore year. There's a meeting at the end of the year just to get kids in the mindset, and it's not scary. It's really helpful. I came from a big public school where I didn't have a college counselor as my guidance counselor, who was assigned to like 500 other kids. So it's really amazing to get this attention. Junior year, we do all the testing at Proctor too, so it's not this crazy gymnastics you have to accomplish of finding a testing center. It's all right there. So you have a few seminars just with your whole grade, and it doesn't get super personalized until later in the process. There really isn't a rush. I don't know. I think like Kat said, it's not super necessary when you're still learning so much about yourself. So I think the college counselors are really good about not making us stress out. But we do have a really great seminar spring of our junior year, where we start working on our Common App. We like get down a list of schools we want to apply to, but really like the bulk work happens senior year, and that's when, although you do meet one-on-one junior year with your specific college counselor, senior year is when the big push happens and you're meeting a lot more. They're really there whenever you need them. You shoot them an email and you go to their office. But I think there's a very good combination of independent work, but also making sure the students are getting it done themselves, because obviously there are no parents around, so the college counselors are even more essential at a school like Proctor.
Go ahead, Sam.
I think I had a strange but not uncommon college application experience because I was off campus my junior winter and also my senior fall, um, which, like I just said, isn't very rare at Proctor. People are coming and going all the time. And even though I wasn't on campus, the college counselors did a really good job of staying in touch with me, staying connected, like making sure I was getting my Common App done and being there if I had any questions about it at like any time, which was fantastic. My my Spain trip was, I think, 7 out of 10 people were seniors, and none of us had any problems, which was really cool to see that even though there was like an unusual amount of people applying to college on the trip, that they could stay in contact with all of us and keep us all on the ball, which was awesome.
Alex?
I'll touch a little bit on Ocean Classroom because some of you people might be wondering, how do you get your Common App done on a 100-year-old sailboat? And the real answer is you can't, so you have to do it over the summer. But the college counselors are really great at putting you on a schedule for getting everything done by the time you actually get to Ocean. And so I think there's just a lot of really great communication between me and my college counselor about like the Common App that has to get done, but also all the individual essays that you have to write for these certain colleges. And I think that is super helpful because the last thing I need to be stressing about on Ocean is my Common App. That's who I am.
So we have questions keep coming in. There's one that's a little less structured, a little more personal for you guys. Was there anything that you experienced at Proctor, whether it was a class or a project you worked on or anything like that, that kind of influenced your college trajectory and why you decided to either major in what you're majoring now or the school you went to? Kat, go ahead.
For me, there wasn't anything necessarily that I was like, I took a class and I was like, oh my God, now I'm gonna go like major in this. But it was more that like I had come from a school that didn't have a lot of academics, and I was like trying more and more classes. And the more I like tried things and was like, oh, I'm actually capable of doing this, the more I was like, it just like pushed my boundaries of like academically what I was gonna try and pursue and stuff. My school didn't have APs, so I got to Proctor and I had like four, and then they were like, no, like you've never taken an AP, you can't just do that. So I was like, oh, okay. And then accidentally ended up in Orgo, and then later ended up back in one of the AP English classes, and I was just like kept surprising myself with um like pushing myself academically. So it was more that like Proctor gives you this place to really like explore yourself and your interests and stuff, and that has helped me in college.
Awesome. Sam, go ahead.
Um, like I said before, I'm a theater and philosophy major, and I never did anything with philosophy. That kind of happened on a whim for me when I got to college. But I did a lot with theater at Proctor, and my advisor, Jen Summers, is also the head of the theater department there. and I had a really awesome experience because I came in my junior year and I got into class and I knew I liked theater. I'd been doing it for however many years before. But Jen and everyone who works in the department really helped me push what I knew about it because there's a lot of different tracks in all things, but I know theater the best. Where like you could be an actor and that's one way to go, or there's all these different technical paths you can go, or administration jobs that you can go into. And I was really lucky to get that to come into Proctor and be pushed to try a technical theater class, and I got to do the lighting design for a musical that I was also acting in, which was really awesome. And it definitely helped me for when I got to college. I saw, because I knew I wanted to be a theater major, I saw the introduction to acting classes, all that sort of stuff. And I got one of those, but I also made sure I put down technical classes. And I know when I got there, I got a job in the scene shop, and I build the sets there now. And I talk to the people who work in administration because I know, because of Proctor, I know all these other paths, and I've gotten to dip my toes into all of them and see which ones I like more and less. And I think it really helped me. Um, it both kind of confused me about what I wanted to do because I found so much that I like, but also cleared up for me that there are options and you can like them all and be good at multiple, and it's worth exploring.
Awesome. All right, Haley, you want to chime in?
Um, my love of Proctor is definitely what is still influencing my college search. I'm just finishing up my freshman year, but I was kind of just going through the motions because I think when you're new to a school, it takes you it's an uncomfortable time period no matter what you do, and I think all of us experience some sort of discomfort at Proctor essentially. But I think what I realized this winter when I went back to school was I just didn't love my current school like I loved Proctor. And it was this really hard realization because I absolutely fell in love with Proctor. And my family has been a part of the Proctor community for years. So it's kind of been a magical place to me my entire life. Like I live in the town. So just yesterday, I hiked up the bulkhead and going swimming at Elbow Pond in the summer is one of my favorite things. And I think it's super hard after you have a proctor in your life to move on. And I think um, because of my transformation from a big school to a small school, it just made sense to me that I wanted to go to another small school. But in the end, what I've drawn from it all is like I need to find a place that I love, like I love Proctor. So that's really what's influencing my continuing search for a new college.
Our next question that we have, which ties a little bit, Sam mentioned earlier, his advisor, Jen Summers. And the question was, did your advisors help you a lot while being at Proctor? I think, a lot of you guys will probably agree. I'm still best friends with my advisor. She's still the person I turn to all the time. But if anyone wants to talk about their relationships with their advisors. Kat?
So my advisor I got was Pete Southworth, and he was the absolute best advisor, and I miss him. And he was just like so key for me when I was coming to Proctor, and I could just like sit and talk with him about anything. And like advisory was my absolute favorite part of the week. And actually, I've like realized especially how important he was to my time getting to Proctor when I got to college and I didn't have Pete Southworth. And then I was like, rough. Okay. So yeah, the advisor system is awesome.
Lulu, you want to chime in?
So, my advisor and I grew super close, and that's the case with most students at Proctor. Um, they are meant to be there for you at any second of every day, literally. My junior year, I got super sick with Lyme disease, and so that caused a lot of different issues. And so there's one night that I was in my dorm and I really wasn't feeling well, so I called security. They drove me over to the health center, and I was in the health center, and it just wasn't going well. Like my stomach was in pain, all this stuff. and they couldn't find anybody to drive me to the hospital because I really needed to go. So my advisor came down, picked me up at 1 a.m. in the morning and drove me directly to the hospital, held my hand the entire time I was in the hospital until the next morning when my parents came and picked me up from the hospital to take me home. They're there for you at any second of every day, whether it's academically, they want to help you edit an essay, whether they realize that it's high school and like you're having a weird situation with one of your friends and they're there to talk about it, give you advice. I mean, they're really like your parents away from home. Like they're every single advisor at Proctor are amazing in different ways. So
Yeah, I'm not sure for the rest of you. I remember going to college and one of my, like, I would just go hang out with my college advisor and he'd be like, Alicia, do you need to schedule classes? Why are you here? And I was like, no, I'm just here to hang out. Like, want to talk about life because that's what it was like with your Proctor advisor. So that was a big change for me in some aspects. But looking at these next questions here as well, and I'm not sure if Kayla had one teed away there to go for.
Yeah. So switching gears a little bit off of academics, some of you are doing some athletics in college. Can you just talk about the transition that you had from athletics at PA into your athletics in college? Alex, go ahead.
So I'm on the rowing team at Colby, and it's a lot of fun. But we meet every day from 4 to 7, and that is a ton of time, especially when you have a lot of hard classes. But the good thing is at Proctor, we have like a block of time where we have activities, and that can be sports or theater. And what that really does is it really teaches time management, which is super key. Just in learning how to do all your classwork before you have athletics, or just making sure that you still have the energy to do it when you come back and you've had dinner and it's like 9, and you just want to go to bed, but you really learn how to manage yourself and keep yourself healthy at Proctor. I think that is just invaluable, especially for an athlete.
Awesome. Yeah. All right, Lou, you wanna jump in?
yes, sorry, I'm losing my voice. So at Trinity, I play field hockey and lacrosse, so I don't actually have an off season technically. And so Proctor did a fantastic job with not only helping me get into the school and talking to the coaches and everything to commit there, but also with getting you ready academically and for the life that a student athlete entails at college. So at Proctor, on the lacrosse team, we actually lifted also before some of our practices. And so that was something that many athletes who come into a college team don't do with their high school team. So I knew all the equipment in the gym, which was really cool. I felt pretty cool going in, being a freshman, knowing. But also, they really help with getting to know your coaches well. And so I have really, really strong bonds with all my coaches because I knew how to go to them and hang out with them and really be open with them, talk about your like day and stuff like that, because that's something really special about coaches at Proctor, because you can talk about anything with them. And really get to know them, build that relationship. And so I was able to bring that over also into college, which is super nice.
I see a comment here in our question and answers too, talking about woodworking and our metal shop. And, we look at our different industrial arts and also our other visual arts like ceramics, photography. Did any of you guys take any of those classes and try something new that you hadn't while you were at Proctor before? Yeah.
I started woodworking at Proctor, which was super, super fun, and taught myself how to turn bowls. It was so fun, and I miss that because there's not a woodworking shop in my school. But I did start learning how to play piano. That's fun.
Sam, you want to chime in?
Yes. I Dave just commented about this. I took a kinetic metal sculpture class with him, and that's probably one of my favorite classes I've ever taken. It's every day going into that class, you walk through the wood shop and down into the forge. Just you feel so cool first off walking into a forge for class. And he helped me make this really awesome mobile that was like sailboats, but it was a mix of metalworking and woodworking all mixed together. And I think I think all of the arts classes at Proctor are so fun. That's it.
Awesome. And one of the questions that just popped up too is, are you guys still close with your Proctor friends, people that you were with here? Haley?
I guess this kind of relates to the advisory question as well, but over Christmas break, I happened to have an advisory that was full of day students, and my advisor, Patty Pond, is just I don't think anyone has a bad thing to say about Patty Pond. She's an incredible woman, but she took us all out to breakfast at a local great pancake spot, which is something that we did a lot during our advisory. And it's just really cool that it was like no time passed. And my advisory was a group of kids that I wouldn't necessarily have been friends with if we hadn't been paired together in that way. But we really all grew to respect each other, and those are some of my friends still. I still talk to a lot of my close friends. I still FaceTime them a lot. Like I found I don't really talk to a lot of people from my hometown anymore, but the relationships that I formed at Proctor were just like I met some of the coolest people ever. It was a really special experience, and I'll definitely be keeping those friends around for the rest of my life.
Sam?
I go to college with three other people from Proctor in my freshman class, and one of them was my old roommate. One of them was someone who I went on an off-campus program with, and one was someone who I used to hang out in Slocum, and we would just like make art projects together. And I know it's not like that for everyone. I know it is like that for Kat. So, um, but I think it's so fun to walk around campus and see people who I know aren't necessarily my best friends, but people who I knew at Proctor, and it's like every time we walk by each other, it's like a flashback to Proctor, and it's the best thing ever. Um, I also think that now that we're all home from school and we're all a little bored, the Proctor ties are getting so much stronger. I've been talking to my advisor a ton. She had me come into her afternoon activity today, which was so fun. I've been FaceTiming friends who graduated a few years ago, people who I in our class, and I think it's really great that I don't think there's anyone at Proctor who I can't just pick up right where I left off with, which is awesome.
Yeah, I know you've got a good story.
Well, like Sam was saying, I go to school with one of my second roommate in my first year at Proctor, and another kid in our class who was a winter start, so we just got to my school in January, and then two kids who were the year above us who transferred. So there are five of us from Proctor at my school, and we don't like necessarily see each other all the time, but like once in a blue moon or every so often we have dinners together and like catch up and reminisce about Proctor, which is really fun. And but in terms of like kids, also my friends, the people actually I found that I stay in touch with the most are the kids I was on off-campus programs with, which is I don't know, you just like have such good bonds. But really everyone at Proctor you just such good bonds with. So
Awesome. And kind of staying with the nostalgia theme, a lot of people are wondering what y'all's favorite can bring up some good memories from those classes. Haley.
I loved although at Proctor there are a lot of classes that like hit a little more on the experiential learning model. And I loved those so much. I loved going fishing for science class. I mean, I don't really think you get that experience anywhere else. But my favorite class was definitely my AP English class with Mark Tremblay. I think Alex and Kat were both in my class. But Mark is just an incredible. We also call our professors by their first names at Proctor. If that's something you don't know, pretty unique. But my that class just like that like it just played with my mind, and it really opened up a whole like love of English that I didn't really knew I had. And I loved his teaching style so much. I stayed on and took philosophy with him, which is another class that like really shaped my perception of the world. But he like the teachers at Proctor are just really there um, to help you whenever. And it's like Lulu said, it really prepares you for going to your professors for help, especially in college. I think you need help a little bit more and going to their office hours. But yeah, AP Lang with Mark is, if you go to Proctor, that's a must for sure.
Alex, go ahead.
One of my best memories is Mandarin class with John Beard. And let me tell you, there's none other than John Beard. He is just so wonderful and goofy and just happy. And I have never been more excited to walk into a classroom than when John Beard was going to be there. Um, just he made the language seem just one a lot easier to learn because Mandarin's very hard. But he just made it like fun and engaging, and you wanted to speak in class rather than like ponder over how difficult it was. And I think something like that is super rare to find in a teacher, where he like conveys how important and how like significant this language is. And I think I just haven't found that anywhere else. Take Mandarin. John Beard's great.
Kat.
Um, Same as Haley, there was like the experiential learning classes, which were just like super, super fun. And then there were certain classes where it's just like the teachers at Proctor are so good that it doesn't even like matter what the subject is. For example, like I took AP Calc, which was a death of me, but my teacher was Sue Roshan, and she's just the absolute best. And she had her um, study hall every Monday night. And so just like every Monday night, I would go chill with Sue, and she just cared so much about my learning. And like after every test, she would like email me like, "Oh my God, like it's getting there" or something. And that would just like felt so good to have someone so invested in you. But favorite class would probably just be woodworking because that was just so fun.
All right, Sam, go for it.
Taylor knows I'll always talk. I this is making me think of something that happened like 3 days ago. I think one of my favorite classes was design theory with Patty Pond, um, and I took that my senior spring with my really good friend Anna Hollenbaugh, who goes to Denison with me now. And the other day, Proctor posted a video on their Instagram, and in the last 3 seconds, if you go to the video and you take it, so there's only 3 seconds left. There's a little clip of me in that class measuring Anna's forehead for a project, and my mom saw it and she showed it to me, and I screenshotted it and I sent it to Anna, and we just texted each other for so long, freaking out about how we're still in the Proctor videos and how excited we were about it, even though it was like a 1 second clip in the last 3 seconds of the video. So it's not really about my favorite class, but I did want to tell someone that. So thank you guys.
Appreciate that, Sam. Thank you. Go ahead, Lou.
So my favorite class was architecture with Brooks. I don't think many high schools have architecture where you literally build a house, like a model house, and it's so, so interesting. You learn all about what it takes to build a house, the real estate behind it, the building process. So that's super interesting, hands-on. You have access to go to that building during study hall, and you can literally build like being there with like a glue gun, and it's super fun, play music. So I loved that class, but also Even though I'm not a math person, I'm not an algebra person, definitely. It's the teacher that made it was Lindsay Brown, who taught me algebra too. She is one of the most amazing teachers. And I think that she's so similar to so many teachers at Proctor, which is why I chose her, is because she's not only so enthusiastic about this subject and passionate, and she draws the students to be engaged in her class, but also because she is available at any moment. And so she was my dorm parent, so I could turn around to her at 10 o'clock at night and be like, I can't figure out this problem. She'd sit down with me and like finish that problem. Or it could be in the middle of the day. She happens to have a free block and so do I. And so I'd like go into her house and I'd be sitting at her table. She'd make me an egg sandwich and I'd be sitting next to her and she'd help me with a math problem. So I think that's something super unique to teachers at Proctor, is that they're there for you whenever you need them. And they also will help you if it's like one small little like problem on a homework, or if it's the entire homework and you just don't understand, they'll describe it to you.
Yeah, I'm actually going to double dip here because it would be a crime to not bring up Bill Whiteman at some point during this panel. Yeah, see, everyone's reacting when I say Bill Whiteman because he is legendary. I mean, truly just like an integral part of Proctor. And I say this because one of the most unique classes I ever took was audio production with him. And which is just crazy because what high school has like their own like music studio and all like production and like quiet rooms. And there are things that make you feel good about yourself, such as like wealth and fame. But really, the greatest feeling of power is walking into an audio studio and knowing what all the little like knobs and slidey things do. And that's what Bill like really teaches. It's like the science of audio production. That is.
The next question I was going to ask, which ties in with my favorite class at Proctor, was forensics. I took that my senior year. I don't know if any of you guys took that with Megan Hardy. Like glass shattering labs, there's like blood splatter analysis. You're just getting dirty the whole time. You get to fingerprint other people. But it was just making me think about it because one of the questions in here was how many dogs are there on campus? Which it looks like, Sam, you might have responded to that over the text, but there's a ton of dogs on campus. I don't know what the exact number is. I don't know if anyone has it that wants to chime in, but pretty much all dorm parents on campus at this point have a dog or two. So you're never going to feel like there's a lack of dogs on campus on that end for sure. I'm looking through here. Kayla, do you have another question teed up?
Let's see. There is one I think we missed earlier. Sorry, I'm just gonna scroll up and find it. I believe it was asking, I can't find it right now, but I believe it was, did any of you guys have trouble getting into classes when you were kind of at the beginning of a term trying to hop into classes when you were at Proctor? Haley?
I did have a little bit of trouble. Proctor is really great because it caps its classes, I think, at 15. Kayla might correct me. I think it's 15 or 16. Um, and there were probably 2 classes during my time at Proctor that I didn't get into. And poor Derek, he's our academic dean. I just bullied him so much because I wanted to be in those classes so bad. And I think I was at his office like every day during the period. There's like kind of a movement period for a week where people like drop classes. And so every day I'd be like, Derek, is there a spot yet in anatomy? Which actually my aunt was teaching. So it was really important for a lot of reasons that I wanted to be in that class. But he was so great and I always got in. So if you don't initially get into your classes, there's like a lot of movement period. Kids are figuring out what classes they wanted to get into. And I think sometimes they go a little bit over the cap, but they're really great about it. And if they notice that like a lot of people like that class, like my aunt's anatomy class now has 2 blocks because they noticed that so many people wanted to take it. So they're really great at accommodating.
Kat, go ahead.
So I don't know if it was just like the classes I was choosing, but I actually like never had an issue getting into any class. I did take me like a term to get into woodworking because they prioritize like seniors getting that, but like my core courses, I was able to get into everything I wanted. Yeah, but that's something I learned in college. That's a very stressful thing in college, getting into classes. Not a worry in Proctor though for me.
Looping back towards college again, one of these questions here was, how did you visit colleges during your senior year? So maybe talk about the timing of when you would go and how that process went for the visitation period. Anyone wants to start that off? Lulu?
So my process was a little different than most kids just because I was trying to be recruited. So I didn't really go down the normal path that a lot of kids did. So I would do a lot of overnights at the colleges I was looking at. And so I would actually have to miss a few Saturday classes just because I had to drive all the way to the school, spend the night, and then try and make it back on a Sunday, especially going around whatever sport game I have on a Saturday. So my teachers were super accommodating and they all understand. I mean, they want you to go to college. They want you to get into whatever college you want. So they push you to go to those visits and stuff. So that's super important. And colleges also understand that there's a lot of kids at boarding school. So if you say like for some reason you can't make it at the usual times, colleges will totally understand and try and give you a different time to go and meet with any admission officer.
Perfect. Haley, you want to tack on?
Colleges come to us, which is really cool. So we have representatives from, like, I don't know a number, but my mom could tell you like so many schools come to visit us, and they're working on getting more and more to come too. So it's constantly evolving. But like, and I went to an NYU thing. I went to a BU visit, so tons. And we also, spring of junior year, all the juniors are bused to a local college where there is a ginormous college fair. And we're like prepped on how to talk to the representatives. We're given little art contact information on little stickers to give the representatives. So, and then obviously we're encouraged on breaks to go visit schools, but it's really cool that they come to us because actually I probably learned about more schools than I would have if I went to a public school and I didn't have them coming to me.
Great. So we have just over 5 minutes left in this panel. So I think there's one question on here that's really great, and I think it might take you guys a couple minutes to answer. So we'll call this one our last question for now. But what was one character trait that you guys developed while you were a student at Proctor that has really helped you in whether it's your transition into college or just general life at college? If you can come up with one or two, we'd love to hear that. Sam.
I think I became so much more independent, which is huge for college, and that's a mix of on-campus life with you having to, like, we talked about this a lot earlier, but with having to learn time management and things like that, but also I think specifically, and this sort of answers someone else's question about like one thing you did that I saw, Mountain Classroom, like boosted all of that up so much for me. You with your group really have to take control and take the lead in your own experience with that. And I think that has just like taught me so much about myself and about what I need to be happy, what I need to be successful. And I got to college and I would like laugh at my homesick friends. I'd be like, "Oh, you guys, you've never been away from home." When you feel so practiced with it, and I think I owe a lot of my success at the beginning of my college career to those traits that the off-campus programs specifically, but Proctor as a whole, really developed in me, which was awesome.
Lulu?
So something so unique about Proctor is that everybody's friends with everyone and everybody knows each other, and it's really one huge family. And Something really different about Proctor is that at most high schools, it's cliquey, but Proctor is just not like that. I mean, a jock will be friends with like a computer lover or whatever, nerd. I don't know what it's called, but like usually there's these labels, but like everybody's everything at that, like at Proctor. And so you're not just one thing. So I was an athlete. So like I considered myself an athlete going into Proctor, but then I was also in the school musical and I did it and like a few like painting classes. Who knew I could paint? And so you're like not just one thing at Proctor. And so that's why you get to know everyone. And so Proctor's just so friendly. And so it taught me to smile at everyone and get to know everyone. And so going into college, that was the biggest thing that carried with me was I smile at anybody I see and I say hi to anybody I see because that was just the norm at Proctor. And so, and I think that's just something so important in life is to smile at everyone because it makes such an impact on everybody else.
Good answer, Lou.
Can I jump on that really quick?
Yeah, sure.
I think I know I talk a lot, but I think coming from Proctor, where you do walk and wave and smile at everybody you see, I got to college and I started doing that, and people would be like, "Sam, how do you know everybody?" And I'd be like, "You guys don't just wave at everyone?" And people, I don't know, that's it, but it's a great environment.
It's definitely a pretty typical thing to see around here, that's for sure. Anybody else? Kat?
Well, first off of what Sam just said, I was like shocked when I first got to Proctor and people would say hi Kat on the paths and I'd be like, my name? How do you know my name? What? Um, and that was just super. But I think Proctor gave me a lot more open-mindedness. I got to school pretty close-minded as to just like how I viewed the world and how I viewed myself and my place in the world. And I can't pinpoint one thing exactly that helped me like become more open-minded, but just like my whole experience there and the people I met and everything um, made me more open-minded. Yeah.
Alex, I know you raised your hand.
Yeah. Kat mentioned it, but like the open-mindedness thing was really helpful. But Proctor also really helped me develop like a sense of like really great curiosity. And one of those was Ocean Classroom, and I'm from Wyoming, and we don't really know what water is because it's dry as hell out there. And so you look at all these opportunities that you have, and it's like there is so much I can explore. And I think just like my biggest regret about Proctor is just not having enough time because there was so much opportunity there that I just didn't have the time to do because I was only there for 2 years. And so I think that developing a sense of curiosity and like a willingness to go explore new and different things is, I think, the best thing that I took away from Proctor.
Great, thanks. Anybody else have any final thoughts on Proctor or anything you think we missed that people would like to know? Kat?
Pretty much, I would just like to reiterate what Alex just said, which was that like 2 years wasn't enough time. Of course, like it was worth it, but like I just wish I had more time to like really take advantage of all the opportunity the school had.
Yeah. Great. Awesome. Well, we have hit our time limit for the evening, but I want to say thank you to you guys for joining us and coming back, even though it's virtually coming back to Proctor. And thank you to those of you out there who are sending us questions. I hope we got to all of them. If not, please feel free to get in touch with your admission officer, and we'd be more than happy to jump on a phone call or email and answer those. So. But yes, thank you guys, and we will hopefully see you on campus at some point soon. All right, everybody. Have a great night. Thank you.
Let's do another one of these. This is fun.
Yeah, let's.
I like it so much.